What's up, YouTube and fellow citizens? It is I, the Sovereign Citizen, here again, and today is the first part of an episodic series that will be continuing on my channel for as long as need it to be, and it's going to be called Jihad in the United States, or Jihad in America, and it's going to follow current events or more recent events of Islamicist aggression in our republic. It's going to cover people like Linda Sarsour and CARE and other foreign terrorists, domestic terrorists, etc. So I may put this out to Jihad in the West. That could be just like the overarching theme of this. So today I'm going to be talking about the Minneapolis cop who shot an Australian woman in cold blood. Now you might be asking, Sovereign Citizen, uh, this doesn't seem like jihad. It seems like police brutality, if anything. Well, that's what the mainstream media would want you to think. But it turns out that the cop that shot the Australian woman was a Somali migrant, or he was a Somali born immigrant. And he came to the United States at a very young age, and he became a cop. He became one of the first Somali cops ever in Minneapolis because they do have a big Somali population. Now you may be asking me like, why is this jihad? Well, it's simple. It's an attack on someone that does not share their values. It the cops could come out and say he feared for his life, but he was sitting in his patrol car. He was in the passenger seat and he shot the woman from there. He didn't fear for his life. If he feared for his life, he would have been behind cover of his car. All right. Cops are not trained to shoot from inside their car. They're trained to get out of their car, take cover, then shoot. So there's my that's the evidence right there I have for this jihad attack. All right. And I would like to remind a lot of you that the definition of jihad is a struggle or fight against the enemies of Islam or the infidels. And the quotation is, he declared a jihad against the infidels. This is coming from Google itself. It's not like, and you know what? Google has become pretty PC. They've been changing their definitions around, like especially with fascist or Nazi, or I think it was fascist. They switched it around to where they said it was right wing, but everyone in the everyone that has paid attention in history class or has paid attention to like the History Channel would figure out by putting two and two together that the Nazis were left wing. That's another video, but the point of me saying that is that Google has becoming more PC, so they would have changed that definition by now because of Islamophobia. So here is the latest victim of jihad, Justine Demond, an Australian yoga teacher who was set to be married this weekend, sometime soon. It was really soon. It was too soon. Um, so this Somali cop probably saw this fucking blonde hair, blue eyed Western woman who was liberated, who had freedoms, who wasn't oppressed, who wasn't covering herself, who didn't have her fucking vagina mutilated. All right, he probably saw this and said, "Oh, in the name of Allah, I have to kill this infidel," and that's what he did. He shot her in cold blood. And when I first saw this, like I showed you the first article and I'm like, okay, let's find out what happened. And then I heard he was a black cop, and I'm like, okay. And then I found out he was a Somali, and that's when two and two came together, and jihad was the answer to the equation. This is a despicable act, and I'm a cop supporter too. I I have defended a lot of cops and a lot of people that had to use deadly force. But there was no excuse for this. All right? Even in the Tamir Rice thing, where that 13-year-old kid had a toy gun slinging it around, and he had the orange cap off in Cleveland, and he was slinging it around. And someone called it. Someone called in and said, "Oh yeah, this person has a gun. I don't know if it's real or fake." There's probable the cops feared for their lives. That woman is probably 5'9". Justine is probably 5'9", somewhere below 6 foot. She's a yoga teacher, so she has like no. She probably doesn't have like a lot of muscular tone. And anatomically, women don't. And she she posed no threat. She probably weighed 200 at the very most. She looked like a very fit woman. She does yoga. At the most, let's just say she was 200 pounds soaking wet, and that's a lot. All right, I'm saying that's a lot. This Somali cop has a lot of muscle tone. He has just he automatically probably has better strength because of his genetics. All right, so she posed no fucking threat. But a kid with a gun that may or may not be fake poses a threat. All right, so this is different. It's not like the Blue Lives Matter people are going to come out and defend this person, because I highly doubt that. Blue Lives Matter are going to turn their back on this person, and rightfully so, because this was not police brutality. This was fucking jihad. All right. In an upcoming interview or sit down with one of my friends, he should be explaining how a Muslim owner stopped his sister-in-law from delivering auto parts to his gas station because they're Muslim and she didn't cover herself. There's a difference between respecting one's culture and completely putting your religion over the Constitution. And I've expressed privately my hatred for Christians that do that too. Like the Westboro Baptist Church, they believe all kinds of wacky shit, and they are despicable. I will always denounce them. The KKK, I'll always denounce them. I'll always denounce these groups that think that their ideology goes above the Constitution. The Constitution is the law of the land. You have to follow that. Your book, your fictional fucking book, is not law of the land. All right. It may be in other countries. Sharia law is enacted in over 10 countries in the Middle East. Go live there if you want Sharia law, Linda Sarsour. To all of my Christian radicals out there that want a theocracy under a Judeo-Christian type belief system, go to Israel. Or go into the Russian wilderness, because Putin says he'll allow people to live there for free. He was mocking the Brits, but hey, you want to go start your own theology? Go ahead. Go into the Russian wilderness. All right. There's no place for that in a country that has laws like we do. All right. Just period. That's where the conversation should end. We shouldn't have to have a back and forth discussion with people like Linda Sarsour that say we should enact Sharia because it'll be so better. I doubt Linda Sarsour has been to Saudi Arabia, has been to Iran. If she had gone there and do her fucking women's marches that she does here in the United States, then you know what? She'd probably be arrested. She'd probably get stoned to death. She'd probably get X amount of lashings. All right. Islam is not a religion of peace. That's another point. You don't see Buddhists going around, oh, Buddhism's a religion of peace. Why is that? Maybe it's because people have the preconceived notion that Buddhism isn't violent, and actions speak louder than words, right? The actions of Buddhists, the actions of Buddhists, there are no actions. All they do is sit, pray, they fast. I can't say that. I'm not an expert on Buddhism. If there are any Buddhists that want to reach out to me, I'll leave my Twitter link down below. You can at me. But I've never seen a violent Buddhist. And there are two sects of Buddhism, and I think the one that I would recognize the most is that Buddha is a teacher, not a god. But off from Buddhism back to Islam is that these Muslims can go around saying, "Oh, Islam's a religion of peace. Islam's a religion of peace," but the actions of Muslims deafen the words. They mute the words of the other Muslims. So, Linda Sarsour, I challenge you to go to Iran and fight for women's rights. And also, the hijab is not a symbol of empowerment. So, this latest example of jihad is exactly why we needed the temporary ban of the seven countries, being Somalia being one. Had this travel ban been enacted long ago, this would not have happened. All right, Justine Damon would probably still be alive today. She would see her wedding day, and she'd live her life happily. We cannot allow these invaders to come here, not assimilate, and murder Westerners. Because I think Justine was an American citizen, but there have been Muslims that are either descendants of immigrants or immigrants themselves that have killed American citizens. But we see it in the West, we see it in Great Britain, and side note, London is under constant acid attacks. It's one of the largest crime sprees I've ever seen in the Western world. It's ridiculous, the fact that there's over a thousand acid attacks within a week. So would I like to see more countries on that travel ban? I've said it before. I've said it again. Absolutely. I believe there are some countries within the Levant that should be banned. That should have a ban on them. I think Saudi Arabia should be banned. Either they need to get their act together, or they're gonna be they can't come here. And I think that would hurt their business too. If we got the Western world to stop taking in Saudi oil, that whole country will go bankrupt and erupt in flames. So Pakistan, I don't think Pakistan's on the list. I could be wrong. I saw Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Somalia. You know, Pakistan could be on it, but there are other countries that need to be put on it. Um, Nigeria because of the Boko Haram problem. Indonesia because they are housing other terrorists too, like the terrorists that went into the Philippines. I mean, a lot of them could have been Filipino nationals, but they probably got armed by Muslims from Islamists from Malaysia and Indonesia. Um, the West needs to wake up. I've said it plenty of times, and I'm gonna keep pounding that drum until they wake up. Tommy Tommy John Joseph, I think his name is the Brit for Rebel Media. He's doing he's doing any God's work other than Allah's, obviously. He's doing Keck proud. Um, we need to combat these people. Islam has has turned from a religion into a political ideology. We've seen in the past during the creation of Islam, it was mainly merchants, and they were doing spice trades and all that, and then it became more barbaric as time went on. You had the barbers that started slave trade, and They helped put slaves into Saudi Arabia. It's it, as time went on, the humanity in Islam kept going down to the point where women now have to wear basic. They have to wear like wool or polyester in Iran. It's it's ridiculous. And Europe at the time, Europe at the golden age of Islam, they were fighting over religion. They were fighting. The Catholics were taking out the pagans, and then there was Protestants versus Catholics in the 30 Years' War, which that was a big mess. But Europe got their shit together. They they were like, fuck religion for a second. Let's focus on ourselves and not the churches. Like we can have the church on Sunday, but every other day of the week we need to focus on ourselves. We need to go out there, make money, and be the best we can be. And that's how we got colonialism. That's how we got the Enlightenment. And prior to that, that's how we got the Renaissance. All right, we stopped messing around with religion too much. All right, we stopped messing around with religion at the time to focus on arts, the humanities, and etc. And that's why the West was great and still is great. We don't focus on religion as much as the East. And by the East, I mean the Islamist East. China has probably the largest population of atheists out there. And even though they're a semi-periphery country, they do well. I, they have human rights issues, obviously, but I'm not saying that an atheist, what do you call it? An atheist government's always going to work because Stalin was an atheist. I Stalin made everyone just drop their religion. Now today, like Russia is just giant Orthodox country itself. But Japan is doing great. They don't focus on religion too much. South Korea is doing great. They don't focus on religion too much. North Korea, they see fucking Kim Il Sung, Kim Jong Il, and Kim Jong Un as gods and saviors. So, I mean, obviously there's communist problems and socialist problems, but that's another time. We're talking about religion right now. And communism communism is its own religion in a way. It's basically like Islam, where you don't. I'm gonna drop that because I'm gonna go rambling on. I could probably make up another video on communism and Islam and their unholy alliance. But we need to point out the barbarians. It's like Rome all over again. The West is Rome. The West is a unified Rome right now, or was until this Islamic invasion. If you look at Italy, if you look at Germany, if you look at France, if you look at Britain, they're losing their culture. If you look at Sweden, their women are being raped. It's a show. It's a sign of dominance. It's an animalistic sign of dominance. And everyone in Europe's just being cucked out. And that's a problem. I thought I would never say this in my lifetime, but Poland is actually doing something right. And on that note, I'll end it there. Thank you for watching. Drop a like. If you're not subscribed, go and subscribe and hit the notifications bell. It's right next to the subscribe button. You'll get notifications when I drop my videos. You'll see it first. You'll enjoy it first. You get to share it amongst your friends. You get to red pill your progressive friends. I should have a sit down with my friend, the average pro gamer, within the week. We're trying to figure out the right software to record a Skype call or a Google Hangout. And after that, I should have more sit downs with different people. Twitter link is going to be in the description. Instagram link will also be in the description. I set up an Instagram profile. Go and follow that. And just remember to stay free out there.